Special.
My phone will not stay in place. Harris, I mentioned that I am him in Call of Duty.
No, but I believe you.
I am him.
Or
Gonna ask,
hashtag.
gonna ask Frank. Played with Frank before. Carried Frank.
I've been playing a little of that new X Defiant game and have been enjoying myself. It's been fun.
I've heard about that. I thought about playing it. Debated it.
Debated. Big face in the chat. Gentlemen in the chat. Hello, gentlemen. Crazy day indeed. We have a bunch of trades. Hello, Sevi. Welcome to the first ever episode of Virtual Courtside Live.
It's like the live or something like that, or it's like a live podcast.
Yeah, it's live.
Live.
Matt in the chat. What's up, Nick? Yes, sir. It's a big day. We will start at 8:05. 8:05. So that'll give Champ a chance to finish his game because he's rudely ignoring us to play Call of Duty ranked.
I'm not, okay?
Yes, you are.
My girlfriend thinks I have ADHD. She is diagnosing me with it. So Harris, I may join the club. She thinks I have it because I can't keep my attention on one thing. I have a very hard time focusing on one thing.
That is a common symptom of the ADHD. I hope that you have a manageable level of ADHD.
I think I do, but she also noticed that a lot of times when I'm talking to her that I'll something else.
Sorry, and I went back. Got me mac and cheese. Speaking of ADHD,
I went back and watched an old 2K League broadcast of me on there, and I realized that I cannot keep my attention on one thing.
Well, most gamers have some form of attention deficit. Stick with Ant. Going to be a fun locker room. They're buddies. I'm not Josh says take some Vyvanse. If you don't lose your appetite, you don't have it.
Harris, I'm going to ask you the biggest question.
That's a vibe, Ja. Dude, that is an absolute fucking vibe.
Harris, before we get into all the 2K League stuff, I need to know, how are you feeling about the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals?
Let me tell you something, champ. All these people out here who want to talk about how hard the Celtics' road to the final was can kiss my ass. Do you know the shit that I've had to go through the past 5 years with this goddamn team? LeBron James, Giannis, Caleb Martin turning into fucking Michael Jordan for a whole 7-game series? Nuh-uh. I don't want to hear shit. I'll take an even easier path to the finals, and when they win that ring, champ, I'm going to laugh and laugh and laugh.
Why? I've never seen so much hate towards an organization making it to the NBA Finals.
Because they know, because you know what it is, champ? This happens in all sports. Because
they don't have someone to hate anymore, so they have to find a team.
No, champ. It has nothing to do with that. You want to know what it has to do with? Because when the Celtics win an NBA championship, it means something to the sport. Like when the Nuggets win, nobody really cares because it's the Denver Nuggets. Nobody hates the Denver Nuggets. But when the Celtics win the title, it means something. And they can't stand it. They can't stand that the team that they hate has won the title. They can't stand it. Oh, yeah, big face. Because you know that the Celtics winning a title means something. That is a meaningful thing that happens. That is meaningful. It changes the course of the league when the Celtics or Lakers win a title. Exactly, Curry. Exactly.
Harris, what does it mean to Jason Tatum's legacy?
I think when Jason Tatum wins a title, he should be considered as probably the third or fourth best under 26 basketball player in the history of the NBA. He will have set almost every single playoff record and a title. The only thing he doesn't have is a seasonal MVP, but he's been cooking.
What about
does not mean anything. NBA media just blow it up for no reason. Primetime Scott. See, that's where you're wrong. Because it's the Boston Celtics. And when you are one of the biggest sports brands in the world and you win a championship, it's a big fucking deal. It's a big deal. All right, it's 8:05. No more about the Celtics because unless we're talking about Celtics crossover gaming. Let's do this. Welcome to Virtual Courtside with Dirk and Harris. Today we have a special guest. It is Champ 2K. Dirk, we missed you. It was extremely weird to broadcast in DC without you. It is a chair that cannot be filled with anybody's butt. Only yours. Only your butt is for that chair. But we tried our best, and I kept it warm for you. But welcome back. How are you
I was
feeling?
sad. I
Why?
was sad.
Yeah.
That's my first and only event that I've missed in the past 7 years.
I don't like it. Don't miss the next one. Or any of them, for that matter.
Yeah, we should be good to finish out strong, but yeah, it felt weird because like the only other tournament that I technically had missed was after doing I think it was the day of was it the Switch in Indy, and I had to leave for a wedding. So like other than that, but yeah, it was weird. You guys did good though. I was kind of sad because it seemed like one, it was shorter nights, which
Yes. Oh my
I'm
God.
a big fan of.
So many sleeps.
Like I was tuning into some of the games and I'm like, wow, like the night's already done. Like, well, of course this is the one that I end up missing. So, but it was a good watch. It's definitely weird watching as a spectator. It feels like it goes by way faster.
Were you like pantomiming calls as they happen? Like, were you like, did you put me on mute and you take out a voice recorder and just like do
Not
your
a
own
chance in
calls?
fucking hell. I was just fucking chilling on my computer,
Nice.
fucking suffering, playing some FIFA, and then that was it.
Were you suffering because you were playing FIFA, or was that because of the sick?
I was suffering because I was just sick.
Okay, all right.
The FIFA definitely added on to it, but
well, we missed you. It was honestly the first night I looked at JT and I was like, dude, it's just like, because JT and I have done broadcasts together. Like, you know, we did the Wizards thing together. You know, we've done like a stream or two together, but like, I don't know, doing an in-person 2K League broadcast without you, I kept looking to my left, expecting you to be there, and it would just be Tox. And I was like, oh, you're not Dirk. Like, it was a very strange week, but we got it done. I didn't embarrass myself too much, only a little bit.
now when I saw that, I started fucking laughing.
That's okay. It was worth it to get burned by the group chat. But anyway, Warriors gaming squad, they win the tip-off, powered by AT&T. Your tip-off MVP was CB13. He was ridiculous the whole week. Not so great in the finals. In game 2, he was actually pretty awful. Game 1, he was really good. Nay owned the day. He was excellent in the finals. Dirk, give me your thoughts on the tip-off finals from what you saw.
I got my first prediction right for
yes,
fives.
You did.
I have the Warriors winning every tournament and the championship. I had CB13 taking the finals MVP of this, so got that right. From what I ended up seeing, I think everything played out kind of as expected from the Western Conference side. I think that we had no real worry about Warriors gaming squad when they ended up getting back in person and you know, how they kind of established their flow. I don't think it was like the offensive spectacle or even the defensive spectacle at times that we were anticipating. And again, Mama came out and said that was a C- performance, and a C- performance is good enough for a tip-off victory. Is very, very scary for the rest of the league. But yeah, I was more looking over towards right because we know the West is established who the clear-cut number one team is. It's more of okay, who from the East was going to be that team that was going to end up playing them in the finals. And I don't think it was super unexpected. Maybe like a little bit like the Wiz and the Raps fighting for a spot to be able to get into the finals. But I just like what we're seeing from Antoine Love. I got very scared with his lackluster play in threes because I thought that he would just be able to dominate that mode. But it's good to see him just come straight back into fives and pick up right where he left off last year.
He was terrifyingly good. Like best player, best point guard in the world, good. His confidence, his stage presence was pretty overwhelming. I felt that he was actually a really good like stage present guy. Like he was really getting up, screaming, shouting, fighting back, you know, fought with the crowd a little bit, fought with the other team a little bit. Like he was really he really, you know, bumped up the energy in that place a lot, which I always appreciate because, you know, when when you have like the lockdown screaming at each other, it's fine. There's just something about the point guards getting up and saying something that adds a little bit of fire to it. You know, like those tip-offs where Dre is getting up, screaming at people. Like that means something to me. All right. That's the legacy shit that I need. And I was very happy to see Antoine Love getting the swing of things. Coach Dev, no, you've not missed anything. We really just started.
Can you hear me?
Now we can, yes. And I was actually about to introduce you. Returning to the NBA 2K League lexicon because he has stopped going to school. Who would ever want to further their education in the art of nursing. What a terrible idea that definitely will not pay off for you down the line. It is Champ 2K. Champ, what did you make of the Warriors winning the title?
Title. You know, I put like a little question out there because obviously I'm kind of edging back into the NBA 2K League and kind of talking about it. I'm concerned for the Wizards District Gaming legacy because not legacy. What's the word I'm looking for? Dynasty. Because we talk about we just got done about with Wizards DG's Dynasty and everything with everything with them, and creeping right behind them is Warriors Gaming. They're on their way. This is just the beginning of their path to kind of like overshadowing that that whole thing because then down the line we're gonna have that debate. They got to keep their 5 players. I can't wait to have that debate where they came into the season running it back with their team. And they look dominant. I mean, they have 5 guys on a team that just we've talked about this for a long time. These are all elite players. They're all very high IQ players. Like they don't really miss a beat on that team, and it's scary. And like the fact that you mentioned that Mama this is they don't even look at they don't look at this as one of their best performances is kind of scary. It's how much better can this team get if it's because think about it, teams only get better as the year goes on. And this is a team that forget about it. I mean, they're looking to repeat at this point.
They're a terrifying group. There's a lot of talk about Cease going into the week. I thought Cease had a really good week. Nay broke out in a big way as well during the finals. A couple of double-doubles in there, 20-point double-doubles that were really impressive. I think he's the master of the jab step, Dirk. I think we have found our king. The king of the jab step. Just like Kai last year was the king of the stand dunk. This year we have Nay, who is the king of the jab step. That man just wings it out like he's Carmelo Anthony on the 3-point line trying to create space. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I still hate how the center plays turned out.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, down low, but you got to do what you got to do.
I wouldn't even call it mashy. It's steppy. They get steppy down there.
As a center, I just don't know. I miss the old days. I think it's just because I'm stuck in 2K17 days where that's the only time I ever considered it mashing is in 2K17.
That was back when you beat Ramo, right?
Yeah. No, but that back in the day, back in my day, that's what mashing was. Nowadays the kids call mashing I don't even know what is it today? What do you call it? We got to change the term because it's not mashing. It has to be something different. Because it's just not mashing. It's just spamming a button 10 times.
Well, unfortunately for all of us, the mashing will stay in the form of stepping with the jab step, making people look like 80s jazz singers, just putting their feet in and kind of dancing around. Nay dominated. The Warriors dominated. They win the tip-off powered by AT&T. Dirk, any lasting impressions on the tip-off before we turn into the trades?
No.
Sorry, go ahead.
Group play is always interesting because you have the teams that dominated that maybe have those early exits, so it's just always hard to judge. I think especially with how much that we flip it into in person, how short and everything condensed is. Because I know I saw some people well, look at the history, teams that win the first tournament never do anything towards the end of the year. I think that it's a different level of 2K now, one from a competitive standpoint, but two, there's not a lot of time between the tip-off just wrapped up. We have the finals in fucking 4 weeks.
Yes.
There's not a lot of time. It's not like before where you won the tip-off and guess what, we go through a 6-month long season for you to be able to get to the finals. So the way things kind of finished out with the top teams that we had in both conferences, I don't see a big shakeup in that really happening.
Wait,
but you never know.
When did the playoffs start?
After
For what?
the turn.
Yeah. It goes turn. We do one day remote of the ticket, then we go in person for the ticket, and then the playoffs start the following week. So it's literally last week of June.
What? Oh my god!
That's what I'm saying. It's we just
Well,
this is once we hit. Yeah, we literally have. I mean, a month on the dot. Actually, a month and a day probably on the dot of how much time we actually have left this season.
These next 6 games could be legacy defining for a lot of guys. This group play. This is why the turn has always been my favorite tournament. Whether it was the build bands, which we need to bring back. The tournament was so much better with build bands. or even the conference mixing from last year. The turn always creates the exact amount of chaos that the league needs because everybody starts freaking the fuck out. They all start like losing their minds. They get super desperate. They start doing crazy stuff, and all the tables in the middle, all the teams in the middle of the
start
table.
falling apart.
Yes, all the
teams
teams in the middle of the table
apart.
start to realize that the ticket is imminent and it's
You know,
staring
like,
them down like a big
well,
scary monster.
And my favorite thing about it is the phones start to ring, Harris. This is the time of the year, every year, where the phones start to ring. We've had players.
Jam, I disagree. I think the phones have already rang. Okay, I think you're putting this in the improper sentence tense, and I'm gonna need you to up your grammar here.
Okay, listen. Okay, but we know that. Wait, when's the end of the trade deadline? I need to know that date.
I think at the end of this week. I actually don't know. I was really shocked that there even was a trade window. I thought that we were done with trade windows, but I was wrong. And we have this trade window.
Well, my favorite trade of all time for the Churn is when I think it was it Jerry, and Jerry got traded. He got traded for somebody in the middle of the Churn, I think, right?
Jerry got traded to the Raptors in season 2 for All Hail Trey, which was funny because at the time it was a really big deal because they did it in a really like shitty way at the time. But what it did do was set up the Raptors to end up having the greatest season, say a regular season in the history of the NBA 2K League, because if they don't trade for Sick and get rid of Trey, they never draft legit, and that means that they never end up having the best team ever, regular season wise. So
wow.
That works out. All right. Let's talk about the trades, gentlemen. We'll start with the big one. Oh, actually, Dirk, do you want to start with the 4-teamer or the 2-2-teamers?
Start with the 4-team.
A 4-teamer. Okay, going right for the bone, right for the meat on the bone. It's a big shooting guard trade, and then the Hawks are in this for. I have no idea why they're in this trade. But that's okay. We'll talk about it. The Mavs got Reese the God, pairing Dave Fry and Reese back together again. The season 3 Wizards championship duo. The Hawks give up a first-round pick for 2 seconds. Nice.
Why?
Who knows? Who knows? Whoever knows with the Hawks. Genji got return of DJ back, and also got the Hawks first round pick. Okay,
yeah.
And then the Magic received Fana.
Yeah,
they're just the Magic are just they're just in it for Fana. Yeah, they just want Fana. Connor says it's for retainment purposes, apparently.
Oh, okay. Thinking ahead, Harris. You know that Hawks organization, they're on top of it.
All
Harris.
right.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Nice.
As
Fox says in the chat, why not turn a lottery pick and a third into 2 seconds? That's elite. It's elite asset management right there. Dirk, let's start with the Mavs. The Fana thing was like kind of working, right? Like it wasn't like working. It was kind of working. You know, when they went 3-3, Reese kind of changes their offense. It'll probably be much more Cap and Dave Fry based. Do you like the Reese acquisition for the Mavs?
Yeah, I thought Reese is playing pretty good this year. With the situation that Genji's kind of been, I think his decision making has been a little questionable at times, and it's mostly due to like shot selection type stuff. I think that when you look at Reese, and maybe this is more too to try to maybe help Cap get going, it gives that like. If we're talking about Kappen in terms of a play style, right, being one of those like game manager type point guards and trying to emulate that JBM style from when he was on the Wiz, I think pairing it with somebody like Reese will be good, especially with the season that he's been having. Do I think it's like a game changing thing? Do I think this propels the Mavs like right into contention? No. But do I think it's going to benefit them? Yeah, I really do. I like that Fanta was slowly starting to build some things up, but this kind of sends a message, at least to me, that like the Mavs just want to win now, right? There's no waiting for this. Like, let's go ahead and bring in a fives guy who's been a powerhouse in the mode for many of the years. So I like the pick. I didn't even know that this even happened until I'm friends with Reese on Facebook. I saw him take a photo in the Mavs facility, and I like messaged him. I was like, wait, what? I was like, of course, no one else is gonna see this, but like only like people from like the 2K stuff. So I was like confused for a moment. I was like, oh damn, okay, Reese is on the Mavs.
Hey, who says Facebook's not relevant anymore? Hell yeah, baby. We got NBA 2K League trade leaks from Facebook. I fucking love it. That's fantastic. Again, we'll talk about the Hawks last because I have no idea what they're doing in this trade. Genji gets returned to DJ back, champ. Nice. Cool. You got Reese back. The first round pick, that Hawks first round pick might be a lottery pick. So, all right. They got DJ in a lottery pick for Reese.
He has returned, okay? He has returned, Harris. That's all that matters, okay?
The hero. And then last but not least, fan it to the Magic. I actually like this move a lot for the Magic because I think this is what's going to force them to do here, guys, is it's going to force them to get Unguardable off of the build that had 87 3-ball. And I don't know if you knew this, Jam. I don't know if you've been watching Unguardable the past couple of years. He's like the best 3-point shooting guard like on planet Earth. So now they're going to put him hopefully back on the build that shoots a ton of threes. And if he's shooting a ton of threes and Fan is shooting a ton of threes, the whole offensive efficiency thing is going to go up and they're going to win more games. It's funny because whenever we have these like big trends across the league, they always swallow up like players you don't expect. Like all of a sudden you'll just see one of these lockdowns playing on something small, like the bag motion playing on that tiny ass lock build. Like why was he on that? Like that was ridiculous. That was kind of what Unguardable was with the 5 out. Like why was Unguardable on a build that has 87-3? I don't know. Like I get it. He could get to the rim. The offense worked a little better, but I'm hoping, Dirk, that this just means that they're going to go back to a more classic offense, because if you do a pick and roll offense that, 3-point hunts with Fana and Unguardable, that's pretty terrifying. And maybe it's what the Magic need to just unlock their team an extra level. Because return to DJ, I mean, man, we watch a couple of Magic games. He was not a fit for that team. I mean, they basically made him sit proverbial corner for whatever corner is for a shooting guard, sit on the hash. That's what he was doing. He just sat on the hash. So this is probably for the best.
Old shooting guard. He basically played like an old shooting guard.
Yeah, he played like a season 2 shooting guard, and DJ's not really a season 2 shooting guard. So, Dirk, do you like the Fana move?
Yeah, I think it'll be it brings a second head to the attack, if you will, right? Like I feel like from what at least we've been seeing, maybe like return of DJ, and I always speak from a remote standpoint because that's when he always plays his best was remotely. There was a point in time where he did have the ball in his hands and he was able to create off the dribble a lot, but he just really hasn't had that this year. And if he has, I'm sorry, we haven't seen a lot of Magic games, so been kind of hard to really judge off that. We've definitely seen a lot more with Fanta with the ball. I think that he's been used to having to up his usage rate a little bit with playing alongside Cap. So I think that once these two can kind of, get that rhythm and flow down of being able to work off each other, I think that they could. But again, you don't have a lot of time to work with, right? Like the season ends this month. There's 4 weeks left. If this was like a longevity thing where we had a lot more times left than 5s, you'd be like, man, like this could be one of the scary backcourts we have. But you don't. We have this week, and then you go into the following week for the group play stage, and then that's really all we have to judge off for them.
It's going to be nuts because the East is so good that we're going to get to the ticket, and there's going to be at least 4 or 5 teams in the ticket that we're looking at their rosters, and we're like, how the hell are you guys a ticket team? And I feel like that's going to be the Magic. We're going to be like Unguardable, Fana, Snubby, Jay Bullen, and Loki Godlike is a ticket team. Like, we're going to be blown away. It's shocking. The East is damn good.
Harris, I will say, I think you did say it best. I mean, again, with Unguardable, he wasn't really used properly on this Magic team. With a guy like Fana's going to be able to create separation and just put the ball on the floor for Unguardable, and it's going to create opportunities for Unguardable to because Unguardable can create his own shot, and if Fana can too. I think it's more about Fana. He can't really play the true point guard position, but he's able to create, which I think that's kind of what Unguardable needs. The return to DJ move back to Gen G, I don't really like. I mean, the only thing I like about the return of DJ back to Gen G is the first round pick that they got. I don't really think that makes their team dramatically better in a way. I think it's kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a lateral move. It's not really it's not really making them get any better in my opinion. I don't think it kind of accelerates them past anybody or moves them past anybody in the standings at this point. And the Reese to God, to kind of comment on the Reese to God thing. I mean, you kind of you stole my talking point with the JBM point. Like again, what's nice about Reese is you get a guy who, I mean, he can play the shooting guard position. Like that, the thing is, Fanta needs the ball in his hand. Reese can be very useful even with the ball not in his hands. Like he can create separation. He knows how to play off ball very well, and I think that's something that Cap is he'll get open, but Cap needs a shooting guard that can facilitate even when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. And I think
Yeah.
that's what Reese does for Cap. And like you said, it mirrors that old Wizards DG team in a way.
I like it too because the Mavs have been a decent rebounding team this year, and I feel like Reese is going to be a good kick-out option for them. We've seen that kick-out threes have been a huge thing off of offensive rebounds this year. And not to say, again, that Fan is not a good three-point shooter, but, if you've been in this league long enough, you kind of just learn the dark magic. You learn where the holes in the defense are. You learn where you're going to be able to find it, and I feel like Reese knows all the little secrets and all the little dark magic things that come with being in this league and kind of hunting through defenses. I will be interested to see how Reese does back in the Western Conference because I would argue that his worst seasons have all come in the West. He struggled. Not his whole Lakers career. He struggled for a while there with the Lakers. Struggled with the Grizz as well. So him getting back towards that West, he came back to the East. Now he's back towards the West. I think that'll pose some problems. We'll
Harris,
see.
can I ask you a question? I know you're not going to give me the full answer.
No, okay.
We all know there's winners and losers in trades, and there
Oh.
are sometimes all teams wins.
Yeah.
All right, sometimes all teams win in the trade, right? Right now, who is your winner and who's your biggest winner? Who's your biggest loser?
I think the biggest winner for me is going to be the Mavs because I think getting Reese kind of changes their season. I think there's a hole. I think if you look at the West right now, there's a big gaping gap between like the top 4 teams and the rest of the West. So that number 5 seed, I think, is completely wide open. And if you're the Mavs, you're looking at that 5 seed and you're licking your chops because like there's nobody really else in the West. Like it's you. It's like the Pacers who are rumored to have made a trade to. Like maybe the Grizz make a run here. Like the Kings are 3-3. Like you don't really know. But if you're the Mavs and you're like, okay, we want that number 5 seed. Like this is a move that says we're aiming for the playoffs. For me, the biggest loser I think is Gen G. This kind of feels like we're done kind of trade. Like I don't think you trade Reese for a future first and DJ if you think, okay, we're really competing in the East this year. And obviously look, they started 1-5. Like, it's brutal. They got smacked in the mouth. They, I don't think they had a lot of runway to move from 3s to 5s and it really killed them. Cause they had they're trying to pair together a rookie front court and, they're trying to, get Reese to gain chemistry with Gallo, but they still have to keep scrimming 3s because they're making it so deep. And I just think the team was never properly given time to gel. And this kind of feels like, all right, the East is really good this year. And I think Gen G is probably just like, let's get an extra lottery pick for next year. Let's get DJ back in here. Let's see what he's got. Let's see what he can do defensively without Feast around. And you just kind of figure it out. And Nap, did any of these teams change their season trajectory? I think if any team did, it's the Mavs. But that's just my vibes. Dirk, what do you think? Who's your winner and loser?
I'll say win for the Mavs, probably out of any of them.
Okay.
I don't think return of DJ going to Gen G does really anything for them. I don't think we're going to see like an uptick in the offensive side of things and even defensive side. We kind of touched upon the Magic and Fanta. It's hard to ignore that the Magic roster still does have Snubby on there, and it's been really hard to gauge like that trio of Snubby, Jay Bullen, and Loki Godlike and what they can string together. And if Unguardable does go off the point guard build, that means that Fanta is going to be the guy playing defense up top. So your defense relies on Snubby, Fanta, and Jay Bullen. I do not have confidence in that defense doing anything spectacular either.
That's why you're the best 2K analyst. That's a great point.
Boom.
And I feel like that's been one of the issues that the Magic have had. We've talked about how they haven't been able to get big time stops, and I'm not sure that this is going to help them. I think all this does is it allows them to go back to running a typical offense. I think this lets them kind of get the pick and roll back out there, and they feel comfortable with a more ready to go shooting guard. Because I bet you they were in camp with DJ, and they're like, shit, like this just isn't working. So they had to go to 5 out. Because of that, the whole defense fell apart, and that's like their whole calling card in the first place.
The offense for the Magic should get a little bit better. I don't think it'll be anything crazy. It's just all going to be about balance between him and Unguardable.
I hope they start shooting a lot of 3s. They have a great 3-point shooting roster. I'm surprised that they don't just shoot like 28 3s a game like the Heat do. Fuck it. Shoot 'em.
I'm just glad
Wait.
none of you guys went for the easy route and said the Hawks are the biggest loser.
Nah,
I'm just
dude, the
glad
Hawks
that
get
you-
an NA. What the fuck are they doing in this trade? Like, seriously, like, this is like the most nothing. Why did they just give up their first round pick?
They literally listen. They are the ones that are on the group project. They did not contribute anything to this group project. They just wanted to be a part of it. They put their name on it just to be a part of it.
Because
Okay?
Connor
That's
says it's
all
for
it is.
entertainment purposes, apparently. I like to think I'm a pretty smart guy. How? Like, I don't expect them to retain 5. Like, I don't think they have a 5-man retainable roster. But all I know, here's what I do know, champ, is that after all the retainment stuff is done, the Hawks are going to be looking at their board and they're going to go, shit, we don't have a first-round pick. And that's going to be the end of that conversation. They could only
don't
retain
understand
2. Word to Glizzy. Did they not have a second-round pick? Was that the problem, that they didn't have a second-round pick and now they had to get rid of their first?
Harris, Harris. In my mind, I'm gonna pretend that there's an error on this graphic and the Hawks were supposed to have a first round pick. Okay.
No, they
That's all
only
I'm gonna
had
do.
thirds.
I'm gonna pretend that this is not the most Hawks talent thing I've ever seen, but I'm gonna pretend it didn't happen. Okay.
They traded their second in the Eli trade for the 76ers third. So here's what I'm going to say respectfully to this Hawks team. They have 6 games to determine if they even have more than 2 players on this team who are retainable. That's the thing that they're not talking. I'm fine, Grady. I'm like really, like, do they have 3 to 4 guys here like, I want them? That's the build. Those are the building blocks. Like, I don't know. Like, Bate was a first round pick. He's been fine. Like, yeah, I guess that's my point. Kind of like, why are they just giving up their first round pick now? Because again, they're gonna go through all the retainment stuff. They're gonna do the retainment stuff. Then we're gonna get to draft night, and they're gonna be like, "Fuck, we don't have a first round pick, and we really need a point guard." Dirk, I don't know if you knew this about the NBA 2K League. Did you know that you really need like a high end point guard to win? I don't know if you knew that.
Bullshit.
I don't know if you knew that.
You don't need that.
And just
Not-
putting a
not-
1-year band-aid over the
no.
position with Duck isn't necessarily a solution. It's a band-aid. I don't know if you knew that. We've had like 3 teams in a row try this and realize that in live time. And again, that's not to say that Duck is bad. Again, Duck he keeps getting the bag, man. He keeps getting the bag, and they keep giving it to him. And I hope that he keeps getting drafted. But it's the same band-aid. It's the same band-aid every time. It hasn't solved anything.
Harris, Listen, Harris, I've learned one thing about band-aids. Okay, they will not stop the bleeding. You have to do a lot more to stop the bleed, and this Hawks talent team just seems to keep bleeding out. I don't know what's going on with this organization.
They love it, man.
They love to do the dumbest things, and they look at us with a smile. They look at us and say, "What are you talking about?"
Guess what, guys? Guess what, champ? My blood pressure's been really low these past couple weeks. I'm in a great mood. So we're going to stop talking about the Hawks, and we're going to move on to a much more fascinating situation, and that is the 76ers GC and Knicks gaming trade, one of the most fascinating trades, I think, to ever happen of all time, because, Dirk, I don't know if you knew this. I'm coming back to you on this one, Dirk. Radiant is a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
The Sixers did not trade Dre in this trade. So if my notes are correct, the Sixers now have 2 point guards, and they are the Jeff Terrell point guards of Dre and Radiant. And if you go over to the Knicks side, they did not trade Original Malik, which means that they have 2 shooting guards, which means that we have a problem here, and that 2 of the best teams in the East are playing guys at each position that don't actually play that position. Why do they do this? Who's responsible for this? And is this a good idea?
I don't fucking know. I don't know who the fuck's responsible for it.
Are you responsible for this?
I think
I blame you, Dirk. This is what happens when you get sick. Radiant goes back to the Sixers. That's what happens. Never leave us again, Dirk. Do you see what happens when you leave?
Oh, fucking hell breaks loose.
What happened,
They
Dirk?
go to my ball site.
Jeez.
I mean, I guess like when you look at it, I think with Dre's individual performances throughout the tip-off, I think that he's played better than Radiant has at the point guard position. So ideally, I would put Dre still at point guard. I would move Radiant to the 2 because Radiant is a very good 2-way player.
Yes.
So that way, with him being a shooting guard, you get some solid defense that's up there on the hash. And just has to worry about scoring, yada yada yada. Something that we always talk about. The Knicks one really confuses me. because I know that we have been talking with the 76ers. We're like, man, if Jaden could just get back into that NBL Oz gaming bag, I think it's almost, I don't think it's going to be forced like that onto him. I think he's going to have a lot more touches because he's going to be point guard. I don't think Malik is going to move to the one. So naturally, Jaden will have the ball in his hands quite a bit. But yeah, having that balance, like 2 shooting guards on the floor, and especially one that is very like ball dominant in
Yeah.
Malik, I got no fucking clue. I mean,
Eric-
rating going back to the Sixers is really cool because
It is cool, right?
it's like that. You know, we always talked about like Dre like coming in, filling the shoes of Radiant, but then now you get the veteran, the guy that he replaced. Now they're both there, like so that's kind of cool. But yeah, like logically speaking, I don't really understand it.
I don't understand this trade mostly because the Sixers were really, really good in the tip-off, and they just got unlucky to not make it through. Like they just missed it off a tiebreaker, which is why this trade doesn't make sense. Like I'm just gonna go to my stats here just so I don't like completely talk out of my ass, which I sometimes have a tendency to do. Where did it go? Where did my net rating go? Did somebody delete my net rating category? Oh my god, they did.
Harris, can I ask you a
Oh, I
question?
found it. Never mind. The Sixers are 4th in net rating. They were technically by net rating the 4th best team in the league, and they traded their starting shooting guard for Radiant. It's surprising to say the least. What are you gonna say, champ?
Do you just think this was like a forced hand kind of trade? Like there was like Radiant was just like I want out, or like someone wanted out. Like remember like when 630 went
Here's
out
what
of
I
the
think.
Pacers?
Here's what I think, and I have no sourcing on this because I don't really do that like that anymore.
Oh, I don't do rumor mills.
I think that the Sixers have been trying to move Jaden for a while because the fit never really made sense in the first place. I think they acquired Jaden because they had to get rid of 630, and Jaden's a really talented player, and they're like, okay, talent for talent, that's a good idea. But I mean, if you know, we like to think that we analyze 2K at a pretty high level. High level 2K analysis says that Jaden and Dre don't really mix together. Like you'll have good games where they'll each play well individually because they're 2 very individually good 2K players, but their skill sets do not sync up at all. Like Dre needs more of a pure, sharp, kind of grenadey, can shoot at the end of a shot clock guy, whereas Jaden is a give me the ball at the beginning of the shot clock and let me break down the non-lock off the dribble. Like they're very different. They need different things out of their guards. And this trade to me says, okay, the Sixers have probably been trying to get rid of Jaden for a while. Nobody's really been biting. The Knicks were looking for a way to shake up the room because they just got popped, and you know this whole thing with Feast maybe leaving, like they were just looking to move on from a guard. Jeff Terrell's like, oh my god, I can get Radiant back. This is like the greatest day of my life. And wham, they now have Radiant and Dre on the same team. Cash, is not to say that 630 was a grenade shooter. However, he is one of the greatest late shot clock shooting guards in the history of the league. I just think that 630 was far more comfortable playing next to a guard like Dre than Jaden really was. Now, again, it's just different styles of player, right? It's different archetypes of shooting guards. And, you know, we saw like the best games that the Sixers played this year were the ones where Dre was just able to go completely off. So I don't know, Dirk. It's a weird trade. I'm with you. I don't know what's going on in New York. It's like, is Malik playing point guard? Is Jaden playing point guard? Who do you think, Dirk? Who's playing point guard?
I think Jaden. I mean, I know Malik was doing a lot of trolling in his stream yesterday, but
Did Jaden play point guard when he was with the Cavs? Am I crazy?
probably snuck in there at some point. Because I remember we were always talking about him and Unguardable, right? They were like the guys that were going from shooting guard to like playing some PG.
Did Antoine and Jaden play together?
I think he played a few games. At point
okay,
guard.
a few games. Yeah, I think so. I feel like I saw Jaden play point guard. Do you know what? I think Jaden played point guard on stage. If I remember that correctly, I think he played on stage. At least one game, and he dropped like 40. Look at that. I'm not stupid. My brain works. I win. Now we can all fangirl over the fact that we are going to get Radiant and Dre to play together in what has to be, again, this has to be like Jeff Terrell's greatest moment. He's won. He's gotten all of his guys. All he needs back, Dirk, the only thing that would really put The cherry on top is if he somehow got Steez back from the Nets.
Oh,
That would
I
really
thought-
be the only way is if he got Steez back somehow.
I thought you were gonna say get Feast back. That would have been
No.
great.
I mean, I
Fuck
think
it. Fuck it. Go get the season 176ers team
Yeah,
at this point.
fuck it. You know, might as well. Just call up ZDS, see what Scretty's doing. Shout out Scret.
CDS.
Just hit him up.
Hey,
Yo,
T-Fresh, come out of retirement. Shout out to the Butter Gang.
Yo, T-Fresh streaming, man. We'll bring him back.
Yeah, dude, just bring back all the guys. I'm shocked that I'm happy with my guys I got. Nah, Jeff, I know that deep down you're trying to get breadwinner out of retirement. You're trying to call the league and be like, hey, can you guys reverse that ban? Like, give me my guy back. Give him back. You bring him home. Bring Brett home. Nobody understands Brett like I do. Bring him back.
I'm cussing. Cussing.
I miss Brett, dude. Brett's still the absolute greatest of all time. Anyway, any final thoughts on this trade, gentlemen? We got another trade to discuss.
Weird.
It's a weird one. It's definitely a weird one. Dirk, 1 out of 10. Where's this on the weirdness scale?
Oh man. I'm gonna give this like an 8.
Ooh, 8 on the weirdness scale. Champ, what about you?
That's a 10 out of 10. Like,
a 10 on the weirdness
hell?
scale. Ooh.
Yeah, like, bro, like, this is like on Stranger Things. This is like an episode of
Do you know what
Stranger
is?
Things. Like,
Do you know what is really fucking with me? Do you know what is really messing with me? It's the left side of this graphic that says 76ers GC receives Radiant. There's just something about that doesn't sit right with me. Nick says bringing back Caches. Yes. it's I don't like it. It's weird. Also, shout out to the Knicks for getting a first round pick out of this trade. And also shout out to the Knicks for not giving a second round pick back.
Is there another trade, you think, Harris? Like, do you think
no, yeah, maybe there's some other trade that made it work out.
Whoa,
there's a second trade. Oh, wow. Crazy. Pistons GT receives What Stick and a second round pick of Knicks Gaming. And Knicks Gaming gets Jomar and a first round pick from the Kings. Can make a really bad joke right now. I'm just gonna make it. So why does it feel like the Blazers are the loser in this trade? They're not even involved. They're not even involved. But somehow they're the loser.
Blazers come from?
Bro, dude, look what the Pistons got back for Jomar, bro. Look at what they got back for him. They got Stick in a second. But the Blazers gonna get anything. How are the Blazers low-key a loser in this trade? They're not even involved. They have nothing to do with this trade. I'm just mean. I'm sorry. I shouldn't include the Blazers.
That's crazy, Harris. That is actually crazy.
We're
We're literally watching the Knicks implode. We're watching the Knicks gaming team implode, and somehow the Blazers are still a bigger loser in this trade. Like, how is that a thing?
I'm evil, man. I'm sorry. No, I should have been the Blazers into this. But the Pistons get Stick. The Knicks get Jomar. Dirk, there's only one real question that matters when it comes to this trade. So we're just gonna cut right to the thick of it, right to the absolute thick of it. Is Stick enough for the Pistons to be able to compete with the Warriors? Because we saw a team this week that they're playing two different sports. Like they're not even playing like it looked like varsity versus JV out there. Yeah, like that was not pretty. Is Stick enough to get this back to an even playing field at least?
No, I don't think any team is going to be on an even playing field with the Warriors. I think like there's that much separation. Do I think that this should definitely cure the Pistons like defensive woes? 1000%. Because one of the biggest issues that they had was when Jomar was at lockdown and the chemistry with Connor and Mana just never seemed to be on the same page. Same thing with Ant. I think that when you just bring in like What Stick, who you just know that he's one of the top lockdowns that you have in the game, I think they'll do a whole lot of difference. And of course, with Ant and Stick, they've already played together. We saw when they were together on stage last time, they fell victim to a B Rich early, and that ultimately ended the run that they had going in 5v5. So I like it. Do I think that it definitely catapults them up in the West? A little bit. Yeah, it's going to be hard to tell. I think that with, how good that they have looked offensively with this 5-out set, all eyes are going to turn to the defensive end. So I still think obviously it's the Warriors, but definitely this maybe evens the field in terms of when you're looking at the T-Wolves, the Bucks, and teams along those lines.
Well, the Pistons are in a very winnable group. They're with the Warriors, Dukes, Jazz, Grizz, and Kings. So a competitive group, but one that you probably look at and think, okay, the Pistons
should be the Warriors. It should be the Warriors and Pistons.
Yeah, it should
easily
be second place for sure. The West A is T-Wolves, Bucks, Blazers, Pacers, Lakers, Mavs. So Mavs are going to do some serious work here.
The Pistons finally got their guy that can like get them live ball turnovers. I think that's like the biggest thing that we're going to see probably stand out mostly with them. So I think that's just something I'm going to be keeping an eye out on with his first game that he plays.
Also, a huge plus that can't be understated is that this moves Connor back to power forward, which was their superpower last year. I mean, he was just immense on both ends of the floor. I'm excited to see him play a little bit more conventional at power forward. And for me, I think this vaults the Pistons into like the Bucks T-Wolves tier, where they're going to really be able to compete for the number 2 or number 3 seed in the West. They have a lot of ground to obviously cover with how good of a week the Bucks had and how far ahead the T-Wolves already are, being 6-1 or 6-2 now. I love this for the Pistons. I really do. I think Stick and Ant is going to be a great combo. I don't know how much offense you're really getting out of Stick in a way that's like, wow, he's like changing the court. But I mean, Jomar was the lowest scoring lock in the league. So maybe this just means that Stick is going to get the ball a little bit more. Maybe they're going to try more shots out of the corner. Maybe they try to have Stick handle the ball a little bit. I don't know, but I'm with you, Dirk. The Jomar fit just never really worked. Like it was a good idea and concept because they had won so impressively in person when we were in Dallas, but yeah, it just didn't work out.
I mean, on paper, like how much we hyped them up, like they should have been one of the top teams that we had in this mode, but it just
easily
like never really got like close to it. The defense was just atrocious. And I remember even talking with you. I remember when Jomar got traded over to the Pistons, I was actually playing with Tunnel Vision pre-draft, and I remember like all the defensive issues we're having. I'm like, damn, man, I fucking suck. And then I started seeing it in the league, and I'm like, oh shit, maybe I wasn't the problem. Maybe it was fucking Jomar and Connor just using me as a cop out. But you know what? I think that this is going to be good for Jomar though too, because like when you look at Jomar when he's at his best, he's on rosters that aren't the most skilled, and that's where he shines the most and like truly takes over. Look at that B5 team that he was on just last year, and like the run that they were able to make. I think that we might see a jump in his play, just kind of depending. I know there's all those rumors of Feast, if he's retiring, is he still going to play? So like, depending on that and whoever they pick up, does this mean Jomar's even going to be a lockdown? Will he end up shifting over to the 4? Like a bunch of different things, but I think that'll do good for him in terms of his individual play.
Champ, how do the Knicks make sure that they actually try? Like, is this Knicks gaming team I'm worried that they're just kind of done team, or how do they get the fire back? Because they're still in a good spot here. Like they're still in pole position to get a playoff spot.
Okay, I'll answer your question, but I just don't understand this Knicks team because listen, I get it. I was not in person, so maybe something happened in person where they just completely imploded. They got back to their.
I mean, dude, they got embarrassed in front of a national audience. Like it was a bad series.
I get that, but it's the tip off. Like this team is still in playoff contention. It's not like they're Gen G and they're at the bottom of the league. They're the 4th seed in the East right now. Like what happened? Like how do you go from like, okay, like all right, like that's the first tournament, let's go into the turn and just get better. Like what happens to that concept? Like once we get one 5v5 tournament, it doesn't go how you want, and you just completely throw everything away. You completely destroy the whole team. Like,
I think it's because personally, I think their issues. How do I put this?
It's deeper than 2K?
It's not that it's deeper than 2K. I think it was the 2K. Like, if you look at how this team was built, on paper, they made sense. On paper, it made sense. But play style-wise, it didn't. Because what you ended up having was a team whose point guard was playing shooting guard. You had a point guard that wasn't really getting the ball at all. You had a lockdown that was playing on an island. And you had two bigs who were both playing center. So the team just didn't work. Like, stylistically, the team simply did not work.
So the solution is to put 2 shooting guards on the team?
Well, what they got back, I don't necessarily agree with. I would not have traded Stick. I personally think that this Stick trade is like I think it's them waving the white flag on the Malik era. And to me, I think the part that's really surprising about this is that Malik actually wasn't one of the dudes that were traded. Because I would figure that if you're going to blow it up like this, you should just blow up the whole thing. This is like a half blow up. And now you have like a half blown up zombie who's like walking through the league.
You got a crawler.
You got a crawler. Yeah, you got a crawler. And it's sad because I think the biggest problem with this Knicks team is going to be like really like getting the effort up there. You know, I think you got a guy in Jaden who has something to prove. I think you have a guy in Malik who always has something to prove. And, you know, Jerry loves 2K, but, you know, Jomar's in the middle of a tough season. You know, what's going on with Feast? Let's say they bring in a replacement player. How good are they going to be coming in right away? Like, how do you, you know, what happens if they go 1-2 in week 1? Like, are you really going to be able, like, how do you rally the troops? I think is going to be the big complication here.
Well, here's the thing. Like, let's not look at the trade as skill level. Let's look at personalities and morale, because I think that's kind of what we have to factor into these trades. All right, you bring in Jaden, who has a good relationship with Jerry. Like, again, they have like a good relationship. They played together, obviously, on NBL, so it's like they have that. You bring in Jomar, who, I mean, when I look at Jomar, he's a very like, you know, collective guy, very humble. Like, he's not like, I don't know what, I think that you bring in two personalities that maybe can mellow out this locker room a little bit, and it could work, but I still don't know who's playing point guard. I don't know if we got point guard Malik out here or we got point guard, you know, Jaden. This trade is kind of just like this. It's a weird trade because I feel like, I mean, are you getting better? Like, does this trade make them better? I don't think so. I think that you're getting like Stick and Jomar are good players. I think Stick is the better player in this trade, but I don't think. Oh God. Okay. Anyway,
Bag, you're way too much for me, man. I can't, like, that's not going on the podcast. All right, I'm not going to say that, but just know that we're laughing about it. All right. I personally, I love this trade for the Pistons. I think for the Pistons, this is a potentially season-changing trade. It's a very good fit for them. It's going to be fascinating to see Stick in a 5-out offense. Not to say he can't do it. I don't think I've ever seen him play in a 5-out offense at this high of a level, especially with the kind of offense the Pistons are going to run. It's gonna definitely have some bumps in the road early on, and I think a lot of it's gonna fall on Ant to really get this team into high gear. Because at the end of the day, if Ant doesn't step up his game, I'm not sure if the rest of the team can. And I know that he's already putting up good stats, but it's pretty clear that they're gonna need even more from him. Stick will come in and help. Connor going back to the power forward will help. But I'm just going to say this right now that, like, just getting rid of Jomar isn't going to fix this team. Like, this team had very real issues that weren't Jomar. This team has issues scoring consistently. This team has issues with streakiness, shooting the ball. This team has issues with defense at every level, rim, mid-range, three-point line. Like, I think Stick can come in and fix a lot of that, but there's a lot that this team has to fix. And again, I'm not saying that they're bad by any means, but the goal of this team is to get past the Warriors and win the title. It's literally maybe the hardest job any team has ever set out to do in the history of the league. So it's going to be hard.
Everyone's playing for second right now in the West, Harris. Yeah. Let's be honest. Like, at this point, let me ask you, does this trade make the Pistons better than the Bucks or T-Wolves? That's the question I want to ask you and Dirk.
Better, I'd say no. Maybe competitive, I could see. What's up, India?
Are y'all live?
Yeah, we're doing a podcast.
Yep.
You can say hi, bro. What, you some stranger?
What are you, camera
What are you, some bum? We know you.
We love trades. All I'll say.
Uh-huh.
I can't say it though.
Say it. What the fuck? You can't just come in here and say that.
Anyone? Oh, you're gonna have to delete this part. So have fun.
No.
But anyone
say it.
Anyone that's trading a future first when the question is up in the air is hilarious to me.
You know, it's something about it. But how about this? I think that is a funnier topic to discuss if something ends up happening. How about that?
Exactly my point. Some people are playing chess. Some people are playing checkers. Some people are idiots. That's all.
Well, Hank, you just said that you got clipped. Bye, buddy.
Bye.
Anyway, for the Stick and Jomar trade, guys, It's a good trade, I think, for the Pistons. For the Knicks, I think this is the end. It's a very sad end because this is a Knicks team that has been historically competitive every single year. They've been a playoff team for a long, long time now. This run for them with Radiant and Malik was very interesting to watch. I mean, it's one of the best backcourts in league history, but they were never able to get over the hump. You know, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. That's kind of their legacy. Dirk, are you sad to see the official end of the Radiant Malik Stick era?
Yeah, because like I just think from the expectations that we had set for them coming into the season, and to see how quickly they abandoned the five that you had right there, I think that's the thing that kind of hurts with it. But I feel like people get pressure. There's maybe some locker room stuff, which I feel like is the reason behind a lot of these trades. Like that mixed in with a little sprinkle of like panic of like, oh man, like we have one tournament left to try to shake some things up, and I think kind of sets in overall when you're looking at like your results, which again, like it's not like we're awful, but again, for a team that we thought was going to dominate in the East and be that clear cut number one team, for them to quickly abandon it was definitely shocking. So I'll be interested to see how they play.
I am too. It's gonna throw people for a loop. It's gonna throw me for a loop. But I'm excited to watch. I love watching new teams, especially new teams that have to be put together on the fly. Like, we literally play games tomorrow. Like, I think Stick got to Detroit today. Good luck.
I think it was in Detroit yesterday. They already had like a video posted, or maybe that's it today.
I'm sorry, you got me.
Is Jomar in contention for being the most traded player? Like, I'm just curious. You know,
who's
like,
the most traded player in league history?
Like, I'm not talking about like players drafted or put on. Well, I mean, because Walnut got traded a lot too.
Walnut I think has been traded the most.
But Jomar's got to be up there. Something about them Blazer players, Harris. The Blazer 5.
Mama's been traded a bunch. Shots has been traded a shit ton. Yeah. Beast Move, one of the most traded players as well. Yeah, that's a good call.
It all comes back to Blazer 5.
How many first-round picks has Jomar been traded for? Or how many first-round picks has Jomar been traded around? Like, with a lot. Everybody's just dealing first. And somehow, champ, the team that ended up getting the best return for Jomar was the team that he played the worst for. Can somebody explain that to me? How did the Pistons get a better return for Jomar than the Blazers or the Pacers did? Somebody explain that to me. How did that happen? There needs to be a full investigation on every single time that Jomar has been traded. It's just don't understand. They got Stick. They got like the best lock in the league for Jomar on like a horrible down year. Like, down year. I don't know. I feel like I've talked about the Blazers so much this year.
Where Harris? Where are the Blazers in the standings right now in the whole league?
Oh, the bottom.
Oh, okay. All right. Bet. Okay.
It turns out, champ. It turns out, champ. The experiment is over. You need a lockdown. I don't know if you knew that, but you need a lockdown.
Yeah, what about two shooting guards?
The results are no. The results are in. You might be able to get around with two shooting guards in your backcourt. That can work. We're about to see the Knicks try that, and that might work. But putting a shooting guard in the lockdown position, it's not good. That's not how this works. Newsflash.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. The results are in. And their bottom 5 defensive rating and 1-5 record. Yeah. Sad. All right, let's turn the page.
Turn the page.
Oh, let's turn the page and let's talk about the turn. We got groups coming up. We have the turn coming up. No fun turn rules this year. No crisscrossy of conferences. I couldn't figure out what the right word was. No conference mixing. No build bans. No nothing, Dirk. Does this
2K.
make the turn lamer for you? Or do you
just
like
another,
it? Because JT likes it.
It's just another tournament, man. I mean, even when we had like the archetype bans, like that really did nothing. There was no like giant switch of the gameplay. I feel like if there were archetype bans this year, that it would just be really boring for the teams that run 5-out. And that would be it. There's nothing else that you could quite possibly change that would like change some things up. So like,
what would be fun? Position bans where players can only play a certain position so many times in the tournament.
see, and that would just make this 160K prize pool just like a fucking Mickey prize pool.
What, you don't want to see Mama on that man at center?
I want to see Mama at power forward. I've heard some I've heard some legends about Mama playing power forward.
How many times have you heard some players say, "Oh, I would be such a great center, or I would be such a great player at this position"? Why?
I mean, dude, I question them a lot, but Ball Seam said that he could play center, and he's been like top 2 in rebounding for 2 years in a row. So I don't know.
I don't disagree that guards can go play center at a high level. My issue is that you put a fucking center at guard, then this shit is just gonna be ass.
Hey, I don't know, man. I saw Ramo drop 40, buddy. I saw Ramo drop 40 at point guard. That team went like 3 and 45, but that's okay.
I like the idea behind archetype bans because like it would be fun, but that we have there's 5 archetypes to use and there's maybe 2 archetypes per position that are actually used.
Yeah.
So like there's no real honest switch up between some of these guard builds. So like taking them away from a certain archetype, it really isn't gonna do anything unless they're a team who is floor spacing slasher dominant, and that is it.
It happened. Yes.
What happened?
I timed the trade perfectly. There's another trade that just dropped. Yes, I timed it. I knew that it would be 9 o'clock.
Oh shit! Rhett Combos is back.
I win. I did it on purpose. Yes, I did it. I outsmarted the 2K League social team. I win. We have a new trade. So for those who don't know, Trey Dollars went home. He did not want to play with the Hornets anymore, so he went home. And now they picked up Rhett Combos, and then they traded Rhett Combos to MBL, who then traded C's to the Pacers, who then traded Chess to the Hornets.
What the fuck?
What is going on?
What is going on?
Guards? What is with all the shooting guards?
Here's my take. Here's my take. I think that all the teams that are in this trade got worse from this trade. I think this is an everybody lost trade.
Everybody got
genuinely, like, I don't know who got better. I don't know who got better. I have been hearing rumblings about this trade, so I kind of have a pre-analysis on it. Yeah. This is a swagless trade.
Is this back-to-back years of the Hornets having a player leave? Or well, one got ad waived, right?
Yes, Bougie got ad waived. The Pacers are way better. You sure about that, Cashed? You sure about that? Positive?
Are you sure about that?
Because if I mean, Cash, if I'm looking at something, I see another team that has 2 point guards. And I see that,
it's a trend. It's a trend.
It is a trend. I don't know what any of these teams are doing. Like, I think it's good that the Hornets got Chess, but I don't think that Chess is gonna like change anything for the Hornets. I'd have to imagine that C's is gonna play point guard for this team, and this probably moves Cooks to shooting guard, which makes it really funny for me because they traded Range for Sub-Goated to give Cooks a better lockdown to pass to, shooting-wise. And they also traded Oreo for Oreo and traded away Big Rain because he would be a better center for Cooks. And then they moved Cooks off of point guard anyway. It's
what is Rhett Combos doing on the NBL? Like, what is going on?
I am very confused. Dirk, save me. Make sense of this trade for me. Oh, great one.
Did everyone get bored?
I can't fucking make sense of that. I can't make sense of half the fucking trades. I'm confused. Well, I don't know if confused is really the right word for it. Rhett Combo, was there like a pre-agreement that, hey, like Rhett Combo is going to be the guy? And then like, was there a predetermined thing where NBL was like, we want Rhett Combos? Or was this like, hey, Rhett goes here to Rec say, I don't want to go to the Hornets. I'll come back into the league, but I don't want to be on this team.
That's a great question. No, that's actually an outstanding question. Like, what was the process of this transaction? I like that. That's a good call.
Because to like pick somebody up after somebody leaves, and the first thing you do is like, we are trading this guy. Like, he is in conversations probably before he even got signed back into the 2K league.
Here's my
and this
question.
happens.
Why did NBL have to trade a first and C's? Like, did they have to trade a first? Why were they so adamant of getting rid of C's? C's has been really fun. I'm confused why NBL is doing this.
Good fucking question.
I guess Harry's going to go back to point guard. Rec Combos is going to play the 2, but
I mean, I'm happy for Rec because like he stayed active with supporting the league and stuff like when he's been out. But at the same time, I'm just it's just weird, man. Like I don't know like what's going on with the thought process of moving some of these guys and what teams that they go to.
Guys, the trade it says via NBL unless the graphic is wrong. So I'm just going off the graphic. See, it says via NBL. First round pick, Gen G. So if the graphic is wrong, don't yell at me.
I think that's for the players because it has the asterisk next to the player's name, so it's just the team that they came from. See the asterisk next to like C's name, and then it has the asterisk in VS, so then the pick comes from.
It's from Gen G.
That's confusing. I guess you're right.
This is why I have such a hard time. Like, I don't acknowledge anything to do with trades other than the players being swapped because I don't fucking understand anything with the way the graphics are broken down.
So the Pacers got that Gen G pick?
Yeah.
I actually don't hate this for the Pacers. I don't.
That's what y'all came up with, a player who wasn't employed rejected a pro team. Crown, that's not what we said at all. We're saying we've never seen anything like this before, so we have no idea what the process of the transaction was. How are we supposed to know? Nobody's telling us. If I had to guess, I would have to guess that NBL probably picked Rec Combos in the whatever build up to this trade was. Because this must have been one of the funniest trade negotiations ever. Because the three teams involved all had to know that Trey was leaving while they were making this trade. And NBL, they basically had to go to NBL and said, pick your shooting guard. And then they just picked Rec.
Imagine
that's
the phone
so weird.
Imagine being Rec Combos and you get like, hey, we're picking you up, but we're trading you.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like it's just super weird. It's so funky.
Imagine being on the phone and you're just like, hey,
this would be like an NBA team at the trade deadline. Like literally at the NBA trade deadline, picking up a guy, putting them on a 10-day, and then trading them to the Lakers for like a future second round pick. I'm very confused.
Imagine getting on the phone with West and he's like, yeah, I'm picking you up, but you're going to
another team. I really want to know how this process went.
I know that you, Harris, like you've seen inside the Discord and everything that goes down with trades. I'm assuming that's probably what it was. They were just like, hey, we have a guy leaving. We can pick up whatever guard that you guys want or player at that from the pool who wants to make some trades.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. It makes no fucking sense. How can we make any sense of something that doesn't make any fucking sense?
This whole trade doesn't make any sense.
Listen, if there's one thing West does, he uses all the assets, okay? That is one thing
true. And he loves using his trade assets. He loves it. Oh, man. Yeah, man, this trade is.
I agree with Crown. The teams are just doing whatever the fuck, and I don't know why. 100%. Like it is. The trades are like, if this happened years and years and years ago, there'd be fucking flames. People would probably be losing their jobs. But like at this point, I think people are just like, man, we don't give a fuck. We'll just do this for this. Sweet.
Yeah.
Like the trades over the past year have been fucking atrocious.
The trades over the past year can all be described as fuck it, we ball. That has been every single team.
Yeah.
See what happens when I go away? Everything just goes out of.
Bro, I don't know, man. I don't know, champ. You went away and like the draft kind of went haywire. Dirk left for a week and like 2 players maybe retired. We had guys getting ad waived and then traded. Radiant's back on the Sixers. Like literally, Dirk left for a week and all hell broke loose. Our whole league is just being held up by Dirk.
Dirk is back. He's back to bring structure to the churn.
Thank God.
All of a sudden, I come back, all these trades get reversed.
Yes, thank you. Finally some structure in the NBA 2K.
Breaking news: the first trade ever vetoed by Dirk the Captain.
Dirk just comes in, total commissioner mode.
This
No more trades.
It's about to be a Chris Paul thing right now. Like, it's about to be Chris Paul. You're going back to your team.
I do think if we have to pick like a winner, I think that the Hornets do win.
I do too. I think the Hornets are surprisingly the winner.
I think Chess has been fucking amazing at the shooting guard. And so I feel like that he's going to come in and fill a void that Trey Dollars didn't give them that maybe they thought that they would.
Yeah, I agree.
Pacers is you would think that logically, right? Like Cooks would probably be the guard. Do you think C's is going to come in and be like, okay, I'm going on the floor spacing slasher running 5 out? Like, do you see a world that happening? No, I don't see that being a realistic option. Rhett Combos, haven't seen anything of him. Is he going to go into point guard? Or is Harry going to go back to point guard? Like,
hey, champ, you want to talk about using them trade assets? How about them Pacers, baby? Like, they just can't stop. Joel just can't stop, man. He's playing my GM out here. He can't stop making trades. He's like, new starting center, new starting point guard, new starting lockdown, new starting shooting guard. Fuck it. We're trading everybody. The only holdover, Jay Snags,
no one is safe
because everybody around him is gone.
No one is safe. Like,
crazy.
Like, I'll be honest. I like the Pacers here. Like, I know that like everyone loves chess. And
check
like
Twitter in 5 minutes.
Is there another one?
Is there another trade?
God, make it rain.
You're joking.
When it rains, it pours.
Wait, hold on. Wait. We have 5 minutes. We have to come up with the most ridiculous trade idea possible. Oh, Hanky says no.
Oh, shitty meme.
Shitty meme. Oh, boo. We hate shitty memes. Yeah, I am fascinated to see, because again, this is for the Pacers. This is a very similar move to what the Mavs are doing, where they're like, fuck it, that number 5 spot is open. Like, let's just go for it full tilt and let's try to like get into it. But this team, man, they went for. I'll just lay this out for everybody because this is so weird to me. They went from Cooks, Chess, Range, J Snags, Rain, to C's, Cooks, Subgoated, J Snags, Oreo. Champ, you tell me.
Sounds like Kmart.
Which team is better? Because I think the first one is better. I think the original team is better.
I literally feel like we went from Walmart to Kmart as a team. Like, I don't know. Like, this is the Kmart version of Pacers Gaming. Okay? Like, I don't know what is going on here, and I don't know what direction this team is going.
I feel like Hannibal Buress right now. I'm just like, which team is better? Dirk, which team is better? The original Pacers team or the current Pacers team?
Original.
The original. Yeah.
I mean, listen. At least they're trying, Harris. I mean, they're the 8th seed right now. They're in a tough Western Conference.
They're wheeling and they're dealing.
They're right there. If listen, the Mavs could drop out and they could take that spot.
The Pacers have a pretty insane group: T-Wolves, Bucks, Blazers, Pacers, Lakers, Mavs.
Where are the groups, Harris?
They've not been released yet. I'm just reading off of a doc, but you guys will see them tomorrow. Too many trades. There's a lot of graphics going out today, buddy. Greenlight died for this. No, he didn't. All right. Let's wrap on the trades. Let's talk a little turn. Any final thoughts, Dirk, on all the trades today?
They're wacky. A lot of them make no sense. Hard to really find a true winner in any of this chaos.
Wow, that's yes.
Harris, what's that Family Guy thing where it's like the wacky inflatable?
It's the wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Yeah, that's what this is. That's how I describe it, Harris.
It's the wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man. I like that.
Hey, the vision's coming to life. It's so wacky and fun and crazy. Entertainment.
It's the wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man. The wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man. An OG.
Do you still have it, Harris?
My question is, are there any more that are supposed to be announced?
No, this was the one that I was waiting on. If there's another trade that is coming, it will be a total surprise to me. Champ back for good, asked Claude.
We'll see.
What can we trade to bring Champ back? What is a trade equivalent to Rec Combos coming out of retirement and being immediately traded to NBL's Gaming? What is an equivalent trade?
You're gonna trade me. Who's that guy that makes all the drops now for random trades? What's his name?
Oh, J.A. Bridgeworth. Worth.
Yeah. You guys traded for Jay Bridgeworth.
Yeah, I'll make that trade.
I got traded away for him.
I'll make that trade.
He's gonna have a fucking stroke tomorrow when he sees my fucking beard. That man thought that his shit was bad before. Holy fuck!
He's like, "What are these guys wearing? What are they wearing? Look at these guys!
How dare you wear a 2K League sweatshirt on a 2K League broadcast?
You should be wearing suits."
How dare you broadcast with a fever for fucking 2 days and sweat your ass off? Look like I got dunked in a fucking pool. I got baptized and I came straight to a fucking broadcast.
Gallo, I will say trades are good for the league.
Dude, it was so funny. Dude, JT goes on broadcast and he's like, I'm wearing a suit for my grandfather. He just passed away. It's his funeral this weekend. He's like honoring his grandfather. And Jay Bridgeford just like posts on Twitter like, nice suit, JT, looking good.
Oh my god! What?
See,
I was cracking up.
I didn't
know
know
why.
why.
You had no way of knowing, but I thought it was so.
I didn't know that's why he was wearing the suit. So when I saw him in there, I went in the chat in all caps. I was like, "Fuck yeah, Jay Bridgeworth made JT fucking dress all dapper." And he goes, "I'm wearing this for my grandpa." I was like, "Oh fuck, my bad."
It was everybody. I was dying. I was like, obviously, it was a tough time for JT, man. But like, it was just so everyone's like, "Nice, you look great." It's awful. Okay, how do the Pacers get C's in a first-round pick? That's wheeling and dealing Joel Azu to you, man. Take that.
Wacky, weird, inflatable.
Gallo wants to know: are trades good for the league? Yeah.
Yes.
They're good from like an entertainment speculation perspective, like what the fuck is going on, like to have that speculation. But in terms from a competition standpoint, it's fucking awful because you already have a clear cut like number one team. So the more that people just keep on exchanging and swapping these guys around with no benefit to try to attack them at number one, it does nothing. Again, like if the season was longer, right? Like say we're in our old format, like it is just fives only. It is a 6-month long season. Yeah, like you can make that argument. We don't have a lot of time left. You have 6 games to be like, yes, we're going to be able to make the playoffs, or no, like this is just a waste of time. It's not long enough to make trades at this point that are going to like catapult your team to a championship.
Is there any team at this point that can make a big enough trade to kind of like, go big or go home kind of trade? Like this is like their only chance to go for a title and they're just going to like throw it all.
Well, the Pistons did it. The Pistons were the team because I don't think there's any team in the East that could make a reasonable trade that would really like blow the top off of it, unless it was like the Raptors getting like Kenny got work or something. Like they would just need to like really blow the roof off of a trade. I don't think anybody in the East did that. But in the West, like the Pistons are back to being a contender just because of this trade. I think a lot of these other trades are just the mid-table teams reshuffling to try to make themselves look better going into like the bubble run. And I don't mean bubble like they're, but like it's crap. I mean like literally like they're on the bubble. For the
Harris, I got a big question for you.
I like questions.
Is there a team in this trade window that you are shocked that has not made a move?
Ooh, that's a great question.
And that's for you too, chat. Like, you guys, please tell us. Like, is there a team that you're shocked that has not made a move in this entire trade window so far?
Yeah, I think I would have expected Atlanta to make a move. I'm surprised.
Well, they did.
I'm surprised that they didn't try to level up with somebody because their team is decent. They finally have a decent defense. I figured that they might just go like high octane, get a big time point guard, try to do the whole thing. But they seem pretty set with Duck. I don't think there was really a Lakers trade to be made, so I'm going to say no on that one. I actually think the team that I'm most surprised didn't make a move coming off of the tip-off was Nets GC. I'm surprised the Nets didn't make a move because I think they are in trouble. And I think they're a bit too average for that Eastern Conference. Like,
really?
I think we kind of saw their ceiling. And I was thinking, like, coming into this trade deadline, like, oh, like, are they going to try to make, like, some big swing? Like, try to bring in, like, a big-time shooting guard or something, try to bring in, to shuffle things around
I mean,
because they don't look great. Like they looked fine, but there's a Nets team that like really was going to go for the title and it just didn't really happen. So like I wonder, like, is there some crazy big trade that they were going to make, but it didn't happen?
out of all the shooting guards that just got traded, Harris, because we just saw a barrage of shooting guards just get moved around. Which one of these shooting guards do you think would have been like the best move for the Nets to make?
Oh, I would have loved them with this Chess or Reese. I think this version of Chess or this version of Reese the God would have been chef's kiss for this team. And it's not even to say that Reed is having a bad season. I thought that the fit was awkward from the beginning, and it seems to still be like a little bit awkward. Like they almost don't give Reed the ball at all, which like isn't helpful for him or them. Cause like it's a lot of greens. Like it's greens. Like it's a lot. And I think on this league build, you've seen that like you kind of need to diversify. You need to kind of spread the ball around. Like you just kind of need to have offensive involvement from everybody. So we'll see. Pit Life says we like stability. We're good. Hey, look, the East is a dogfight. All right, like it's a World War II dogfight. It's the Battle of Britain up there. So good luck to y'all. Y'all about to be shot down in burning flames and glory. Not the Nets, just all these Eastern teams, bro. You guys are. This turn is going to be biblical in the Eastern Conference. Like tears will be shed, blood will be spilled, bones will be broken. Like it's going to be a bloodbath out there. So good luck, Eastern Conference.
Dirk, is there a team that you're shocked that didn't make a trade in this window?
No.
No.
I didn't even know the fucking trade window was even open until
Right?
like a few days ago.
Crazy.
I didn't know shit.
I mean, like, what about like teams that are like in the bubble? Like, let's talk about like the Cavs team. Is there moves that the Cavs could have made? Like, I don't know assets right now, so I don't know if they have assets. I'm just like throwing them out there. Like, we have teams that are like kind of in that bubble range. Like, you have the Grizz, you have the Cavs. You talked about the Hawks a little bit. The Nets. I like the Nets. Is there like a team that like in that bubble range that you feel like make a move, like that should have made a move? Like none of them? Like
Sorry,
teams like the Grid. No, like I was asking, like I'm like talking about teams that are like kind of in the bubble, like they're in the middle, and like you got like the Grizz, the Cavs, like those teams that are like in the middle of the league. Like, do you think they should have made moves at this point, or do you think
Cavs
that they
are
should
good.
just like?
I'm putting my vote in for the Cavs being good. I think the Cavs are good. I think their offense is coming around. They just figured it out. Like the last 2 games of the tip-off group stage, they figured it out, but it was just too late. They just were too late to like get to the tip-off, and the Knicks beat them out, and they were in that hole.
I think with a position of some teams that are on the bubbles with their individual players, right? Because there are some guys that obviously have more stock and are more tradable than others. But say for example, right, you're trying to go position for position with this shooting guard and this shooting guard. One is probably not realistic because if you're trying to really take that leap and go snag a shooting guard in this trade environment that we have, maybe you could pull off a highway robbery. But either what are you going to do? Just swap a guard for a guard and just be average? Swap a small forward for a small forward and just be average? There's like no like real work that you could do with these teams that are on the bubble to where if you got somebody, like you would absolutely have to fleece a top team who would have to give up a piece. I just don't think that making a trade just to make a trade does much, which I feel like a lot of these teams did. And I honestly feel like they're almost locker room reset trades. Give me a start of the season vibe. Like, let me get this honeymoon stage back. We took this guy out. We brought this guy in. Let's see how things go. That's what I feel like a lot of these were. I feel like it was almost like a mental reset for them going into another tournament.
That's a vibe. I like that honeymoon stage line. I like
that. But
that's a good
Harris, do you think? I'm sorry. Again, we'll move on. But do you think that do you think this Cavs team can like basically we just saw what happened to the Knicks? Do you think that the Knicks are going to be out of the playoffs, and you think the Cavs are going to take their slot?
I don't know if it's taking their slot, but I think the Cavs are one of the 5 best teams in the East. I think that defense is real, and I think if Antoine or Killy in any game are moving, that team scores. And in games when both of them are playing well, they're really, really good. Like, because their defense, all 5 of them can play defense. Like Killy's become a pretty good defender in either the corner or either on the hash. Like Killy's actually been playing some good defense this year. Antoine's obviously one of the best defensive point guards in the league, and that whole lineup is just really smart. They play great ball. So just the Cavs are my like turn around team. Like I think the Cavs will make it out of the group and like lock in a playoff spot. I think they're good. Okay, let's turn the page. Gallo says, not this at all, but what you just said, not true. Fat Love always has the ball on the best pick and roll offense I've ever seen. But if you notice on stage, Gallo, the Raptors were at their best when Fat Love and Symptoms were sharing the ball at a near even usage rate. And Symptoms was taking a ton of shots. It was allowing Antoine Love to do a lot of catch and shoot opportunities too. And that's not to say that like some point guards just aren't good at that, but like Antoine Love has mastered the ability of spreading the ball around and getting everybody involved. I mean, there's a reason why he's averaging 15, 16, 17 assists per game. Like he's on another level right now. Like he's probably the best player in the league as things stand. I don't actually think we talked enough about the Raptors coming off the tip-off, bro. That's still the best team in the East. Like they probably got the best point guard coach combo in the conference. So like that's a real thing. If you the Antoine Love Nick combo is like a serious thing for that team. So yeah, I'm excited to see if they can keep it up during the turn. I agree. Green's just as good as my opinion. Hey, they are smack dab in the middle of the East like everybody else. So if there was ever a time, it's now. Okay, let's talk about the turn. Dirk, give me your early prediction. Who do you think will make it out of the turn, both conferences, and who will win the turn?
Warriors out of the West. I think out of the East, I'll go Raptors again.
Okay.
And the Warriors will win.
Ooh,
and
Warriors
Native will
in
get
round
hit.
two.
The Warriors will get his turn MVP.
Okay, interesting. Champ, what about you?
Well, man, well, I feel like a weird team's gonna come out of the tournament. Always, like for the last couple of years, like we've seen a team like the Hornets come out of nowhere and they just find a way to win the turn. But I feel like I'm gonna go with like a weird team to come out of the East because I feel like this. I mean, but the problem is we don't have like anything that's different with this tournament, so it's like it's just a regular tournament. Like there's nothing like special about it. But I'm gonna go with the 76ers winning the turn.
Ooh, winning the turn?
Yes, winning the turn.
Damn, you like that Dre rating combo?
Know. I feel something. It just I don't know. It's just something's cooking up. Like Jeff Terrell, like like he brings back Radiant. He has Dre there. Like I don't know. I just have a weird gut feeling that the Sixers team is going to come out of nowhere and are going to suddenly just start winning games.
Hey, like, for what it's worth, champ, they ain't coming out of nowhere. They are the fourth best team in net rating. They should have been to the tip off. They lost out in a tiebreaker. They're one of the best teams in the league for my money. So I'm with you. I agree. I think they're going to be great this tournament. I'm with you.
So I would not be shocked by the end of the turn tournament if we're talking about them and the Raptors as like the 1 and 2. Like I really think that they're gonna come around and they're gonna really turn things around, I guess, as you would say, Harris. I think the team that they're gonna be playing from the West is not gonna be the Warriors. I think this Warriors team, again, I think that as the season is going on, I think teams will figure them out to a sense. I think playoff time will be a totally different story, but I think someone's going to kind of hit them with like a blindside hit. And I think that team that's going to hit them with that blindside hit is probably going to be T-Wolves Gaming. I think that T-Wolves Gaming is going to come into this. I think that depending on how the schedule goes, I don't know. I don't know the whole layout. I don't know the groups. I don't know any of that at this point. I just think that this T-Wolves team, a team that I didn't really believe much in coming into the season. You know me, Harris. I did not believe in this team at all. But I just have a weird feeling that this T-Wolves team is going to come into this tournament. They're playing, like they're hungry. Like this team is going to go against this Warriors team because this Warriors team is their heads are up here right now. They think that there's nobody that can beat them at this point. But all it takes is one series, and it can completely change the morale of the entire team. It can completely change the outlook of the playoffs. It can make a Warriors team feel like, oh, we're repeating, and they could lose to some team like like the Mavs, and suddenly be completely like just debacled and like look like Knicks Gaming. So I think at this point, I'm gonna go with T-Wolves, and I'm gonna go with Sixers in the turn finals, and I think the 76ers are gonna take the turn.
Interesting. Okay, bold. I like you backing it up. It's been a long time since we've seen the T-Wolves beat the Warriors on stage. It's been a while. It's been a couple years now. So
wow.
Yeah, actually, coming to think about it, it's been a long time since we've seen the T-Wolves beat the Dubs. It's a very different T-Wolves team, but hey, I like your aggressiveness.
Either way, I think some weird team's gonna knock the Warriors out. It doesn't have to be the T-Wolves. I just think the T-Wolves will be in the finals no matter what.
Hey, you're entitled to your opinion. However, I very much disagree. I don't think anybody's beating the Warriors out of the West. I think if there's going to be a team that beats the Warriors, it'll be an Eastern team. I'm going to go Warriors-Wizards as my turn finals. I think this Wizards team is sorely underrated. I think they pushed that Raptors team about as far as they could. And if the ball bounced the Wizards' way a couple of times on stage, they would have won that series. And I think the level that Benzo has gotten, like how much better he's gotten every single game, should be terrifying to the rest of the league. Like he's gone from like, oh, this guy might be, maybe rookie year, might be a top 10 point guard, whatever, to like, holy shit, he's a top 5 point guard easily. Like he's really cooking with gas. I'm gonna go Wizards Warriors. I think the Warriors win. I think they get the tip-off turn combo. I think the MVP of the turn will be Ney. I think he was probably a little bit robbed for the tip-off MVP, especially if it's supposed to be like the tip-off finals MVP. I don't know. We never really discussed if it was supposed to be for the whole tournament. Is it supposed to be for the finals? I'm not really sure. But for me, Ney is still the guy on that team that we don't talk about enough. He has been immense for them. I mean, he's averaging almost 6 assists per game as a center. He's leading the league in rebounds. He's one of the best interior scorers in the world. Like, I feel like he is somebody that, we talk about the four first ballot Hall of Famers, but I mean, at this point, Ney is playing at their level. Like, he's playing as good as anybody on that Warriors team right now. So I got the Dubs taking out the Wizards, but I think this Wizards team, by the time we end this run, will have stolen the 1 seed from the Raptors and put the Raptors at that 2 seed. Both will get a bye. Not that a first-round bye has been anything good for any team in the Eastern Conference. First-round byes are actually horrible for teams in the Eastern Conference, but, good luck.
So, Harris, if you have the Warriors winning this tournament,
yeah,
do you have the Warriors winning the championship?
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Has a team ever won every tournament and then went to win the title?
No. Nope.
Okay.
Everything has to happen once, right?
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, it more just comes down to me where we've had great 2K teams in the past. We've obviously had great ones. None of them learn quite like the Warriors do. Like, they figure you out in like the middle of the second quarter and then they just beat you. Like, you might be keeping it close. You had a nice second quarter and then it's just over. Like, they go on a crazy run, like, for 4 minutes. Well, they'll beat you, like, 11-2, and the game is over because they're not giving you that 9-point gap back. And, the reason the Raptors got close, the only way that you can beat the Warriors, there's one way. There's one way. This is the only way. The only way you beat the Warriors is if they miss their wide-open threes. That's it. That's the only way that so far this year teams have been able to get even close to them. The Bucks got close in Game 2 because the Warriors missed all their threes. The T-Wolves beat them because the Warriors went 6 of 18 from 3. And the Raptors kept that game close in Game 2 because the Warriors literally, again, could not hit a single 3 until we got to overtime of Game 2, and they started hitting all their threes again, and they blew them out at overtime. That's the only chance that teams have of beating the Warriors, is hoping they miss. You can't beat the defense. Nobody has yet. Antoine Love might be the smartest point guard that we have. And he kind of half figured it out. Maybe if you gave him a second try, it would look better, but like that's like the best we got. And even he was struggling. So I'm not sure.
Harris, little fun fact, I'm sure you know this. Every team that has ever won the turn has never won the title.
Yeah, any team that's won the tip-off hasn't won the title. Usually winning 8-season tournaments is not a good, future predictor for the team that's actually going to win the title. However, the only team that's ever come close to beating this, to doing it, was the Raptors back in Season 3. The difference of the Raptors in Season 3 is that we weren't aware that a team like the Wizards could get so good to take down a Raptors team like that. Because the Raptors played that Wizards team so many times that eventually the Wizards just ended up they smacked them like the 5th time that they played against each other. But this Warriors team, there isn't a team in the West that's built like that. They've slaughtered every team in the West to the point where it's like, is this even Like, is this even anybody else's conference? Like, does it even matter who comes in second? So I'm not sure. I think it's a different situation this year.
Well, Harris, season 1, Blazers, right? They win the churn, first round exit. You go to season
buddy,
2.
we can't be comparing season 1.
Okay, season 2. Season 2, Warriors won the churn. Were they a first round or second round exit? I don't remember.
This Warriors team is better than that season 2 Warriors team.
Raptors uprising.
This
You
Warriors
can't
team is
compare-
better than that
First round
Raptors
exit.
team.
You can't compare any of the seasons because this is such a short 5 season. Like we just saw it in threes. Like that's the same thing. People who win a tournament in threes, they wouldn't win the championship. The Lakers did that because everything was so small and condensed. Same thing now in fives. It is way more realistic for a team as dominant as Warriors gaming squad to where, again, if you dominate at the start of a 2K League season, you have to continue that dominance for 5 months after that season start to be able to win a championship. Cool. You just dominated. Now you're just going to dominate for another 4 or 5 weeks, and that's it. Like
you're saying there's not enough time for teams.
There's nowhere near enough time to be able to game plan and take somebody down. Like there's nowhere near enough. That's what, again, the first team ever to bring back all 5, and it just so happens all the 5 are fucking phenomenal each of their positions. And the way, and we saw it right from the jump. Like the first games they came out with, like okay, they're easily the best team as we expected, and they show no signs of slowing down.
They've also, Dirk, been lucky enough to have been given a league build that completely went to them skill set wise. Like, you could not have given CB13 a better league build for what he likes to do. You could not have given Nay a better league build for what he likes to do. Cease figured, I don't know if you guys were watching the 2K League this week. I talked to my chat and you too. Cease figured out the league build this week. I don't know if you guys noticed. He basically had almost double-digit steals in every single series this week. So the best power forward in the world was kind of like meh there for like a week and a half, and then all of a sudden he gets back in person. He's stealing like everything that's going at him in the lanes. It's crazy. Kenny figured out the league build this week. He's getting plucks and threes all over the place. The only person on that team who hasn't figured out the league build is Mama, and he is basically in his Jason Tatum bag doing everything except hitting threes. Like, Mama can't shoot right now. It's kind of ugly, but he's playing great defense. He's passing the ball super well. He's scoring great at the rim. All he can't do is shoot threes. That's like that's the team's only weakness is Mama's 3-point shooting. That's it. It's kind of nuts.
That's why, I mean, even my prediction before 5 started, I think that the Warriors are going to do what the Raptors almost did. I think that the Warriors are going to win the tip-off. I think they're going to win the turn. I think they're going to go on and win the championship.
It's the Kenny got work manifest destiny. He has to complete it. It is literally his destiny. He has to do it. He has to win everything.
And here's the craziest shit too about like how good the Warriors are. The Warriors could come out and lay a goose egg in the turn and not make it to bracket play, and I'd still be like, they're gonna win the championship.
That would be
kind of like the same way with LA and the Switch. Same thing with them.
Oh yeah.
Wait. So if the Warriors win a title this year, who is the greatest player of all time? Mama, Kina, or Day Fry?
I have a point about this. And I was thinking about this on my way home. I don't think that this league can have a best player of all time. I think it must have a best player per position because all of our positions are so, like, it's not like the real NBA where, Magic Johnson, LeBron James, and Chris Paul all generally play the same position, right? Like they're all playing point guard. It's just different sizes. Our league is so position specific that I don't think we can have one best player of all time. What I think it does is that I think it solidifies Mama as the best shooting guard ever. It probably solidifies Kenny, ironically, as the best lockdown ever. And it probably locks down Cease as the best power forward ever. And then you get Dave Fry and JBM at point guard and center.
Mm-hmm. You know what's great about this, Harris, is Dave Fry's not retired and he's back in the league. So it's not like we could be like, oh, well, Dave Fry was gone. So, Dave Fry's in the league. I mean, he came out of retirement just to, lose to a team that
I'm actually kind of bummed we're not going to get Mavs Warriors before in person. I would have loved to see them get a game. Keena would have to surpass JBM.
He already did.
Oh, he already did. Wow. Hot take. He would need a finals MVP. You cashed, in my opinion, in order for Keena to pass JBM, it's going to be the nature of their title. Because JBM the year in season 4 when they made that run was the best player on the team he was the best player in the finals. And that's like a big deal. Like they swept the finals. He was the best player on the team. He was the best player of the whole playoffs. So I'm gonna need to see a run from that by Keena, but like, there's no question that Keena has his spot on the point guard Mount Rushmore. But saying who the best point guard of all time is unfair because everybody played on such different league builds. I like the idea that point guard should be judged on a Mount Rushmore basis.
I mean, but the accomplishments are big for point guards. Like, you gotta win.
Huge.
Like, winning
Huge.
goes to your point guard. Like if there's anything that we can use for point guards, it's banners and it's playoffs and it's like, it's not stats. It's not stats based because we've had different builds every year. Like, Keena is not a stats guy, but when it comes to winning, he wins. Like, that's what matters.
I wouldn't say that Cease with another DPOY in ring passes Dave Fry. I think, again, you're dealing with guys who are playing very different roles. Dave Fry had to play a very different role on that Wizards team than Cease had to on both these Warriors teams. You know, Cease is playing on I guess he does have 3 titles at that point, so maybe it is worth the conversation. But I think that's a conversation for another day because we're about to hit an hour and 40 minutes on the podcast, and I want to go watch the second half of T-Wolves Mavs. Actually,
Woo,
I want to see what the score is. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I want to laugh.
Mavs were down as much as 10 at one point.
Let me guess, it's tied.
I think it was last time I checked.
I had to listen to Anthony Edwards is better than Jason Tatum rants for 2 weeks, and they're about to get swept by a 5 seed. Not so easy, is it? Not so easy to get past the conference finals. Crazy how that works. Oh, the Wolves had a harder run. Yeah.
It's too bad the Mavs are going to beat the Celtics in the finals.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
Oh,
Okay.
And on that note, I think we should end here.
Oh, Anthony Edwards, 5-11 from the field. Not great, Bob. Mavs will be 2nd or 3rd seed in the East. I guess we'll never know. All right, that's going to do it for Virtual Courtside. Kyrie can get his revenge, and they'll still lose in 5. We will be on the broadcast tomorrow, Dirk and I, turning it up for the turn. And we're going to have a great week. Do you like all my turn puns, Dirk? I have 10 more to go, baby. I got more. Don't you worry, Dirk. We're gonna give these teams a lot of opportunities to turn the other cheek and get their seasons back in order.
All right, can we please turn off the
End
podcast?
this shit.
Turn around.